everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful weekend. So this week what's popping and dropping is a sailboat pop-up card. And I'm going to show you how I made this cool water scene down here. And it shuts up very nicely in our card. So if you'd like, let's go ahead and head over to Design Space and I'm going to show you everything that comes in this file. I'll meet you over there. Okay guys, when you open the Sailboat pop-up card, this is what the file will look something like. All these pieces over here are just extra pieces if you would like to utilize them. From here on are all the pieces that I will be using in the pop-up card. If you want to add any additional pieces, go ahead and do that. Don't forget to go up and name and save your project so you can save it for later. And if you'd like, we can go ahead and get all of these pieces cut out. I'll meet you at the craft table and I'll show you how to put this together. I'll see you there. Alright guys, so now that we are at the craft table, we can get our pretty paper out and our card base. Let's go ahead and work the score line and then we can put our pretty paper on top. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we have our card base folded and our pretty paper on. Today we're going to do more of a masculine card. This is going on the inside of our card and I'm just going to line it up with the edge over here and then our red piece is going to go like so. And we're just going to do it on both sides. And this week our card is going to open long ways like so. So let's go ahead and put these two pieces on. Right, so we have those pieces done. So why don't we get out our pieces to make our boat? Okay, so we have all of our pieces here. This is what we should have out for our boat pieces. These are waves we're going to put on the side of our boat. I'm going to color mine with some blue markers here. Just use what you have, or you can just cut out a blue piece or whatever color you want your water to be. So I'm just going to shade my water pieces here. And then with my darker marker, I'm going to take the smaller end and I'm just going to color in like some of the tops of the waves here. Alright, so we have our waves done. Now let's go ahead and take our flag piece here, and this little piece goes on top of this flag part here. And your backside is going to show. We want to use light paper in our boat making because if we bulk it up too much, it's going to make our card really thick. Here are our sails. We're going to take this piece and put it on top like so and glue it down. And the same thing for our other piece over here. So let's go ahead and do that. You don't want to put any glue on your tabs here. Okay, so now let's take our boat piece here and we are going to work those score lines. We have one in the middle. Then we have one on each side of this long tab. And then on this tab, we have one on each side of it. And then we have one at the very end. And then one on each of these tabs. Now the smaller section here, see how that one is more narrow, and then we have a wide section. This is going to be the front of our sailboat, smaller section. So we can go ahead and put one of our water pieces on. The water is going to stick out just a little past our boat here. So if you line it up to this score line on our big tab and then go all the way down, you can see that that piece sticks out beyond. So about right here, you want to stop the glue. Don't glue past that. And if you don't like that, you can definitely snip that piece off. So we can turn this over and go ahead and put some glue on the back and then put it on. And you can see about right there where I stopped the glue. So I'm just going to bump this up to my score line on my wider piece and then go along the bottom of my boat. And then we can just fold it in half to make that score line there. So that's what our piece is looking like. And then this piece will wait until we glue the other side. Now while we have this open, we can put our railing on, but I'm going to put a life preserver on it too. So here's the bottom of the life preserver. Here's the top. I use cardstock for the bottom and vinyl for the top. The two middle bars here will line up in those score lines. And we want to put this on the back side. So I'm going to put a little glue on just these two middle pieces here. And then I'm going to line it up on my boat. We're making sure we're using the smaller section, the smaller tab. And we can hook it around our little bar here. So I'm going to put it on this side. So it'll look like that once we hook it on there. And then what we can do is go ahead and glue the other bars down. So we have our two middle pieces glued down. Now what we can do is put a little glue on the next two bars, and you're going to have to bend this just a little. So that's what it looks like with that section glued down. That's what it looks like on my back. And then I'm just going to do the same thing to these two guys. Now our life preserver, you can slip it on before we glue it on. I just find it a little bit harder to do. So I'm just going to snip right in my little white piece there. And then we'll hook it around it like so. And then I'm just going to take some glue and put it on the opposite side. And then flip it back over. And we've glued that down in place. Now we can take our tab at the end here and line it up. So we got it in half with both of our tabs lined up. And then we're just going to fold this guy under and put a little glue on that tab there and then adhere it to the other side. So let's do that. And there you can see where the water sticks out a little past the boat. Again, you can keep that or clip it off. And then we can go ahead and put our other side on. Remember, we're going to start at the back to line it up and then adhere it to the boat like so. And don't forget, don't put glue on this first wave. There's our other side. This is how our boat is looking so far. So our boat is finished here. The next thing we're going to work on is this guy right here. And we have one center score line in the center. So let's go ahead and work that. And this will be a valley fold. The next piece we're going to work on is these two pieces here. This one is already worked, but we have a score line here and we have another one down here. So we can go ahead and work both of those. Now that we have this worked, it should look something like this. And we're going to take this guy here. Now, these two tabs are shaped a little bit different, and I'm mentioning this so when we go to put this guy on, we want to make sure these two tabs are matching. It just makes it easier to glue. So to feed this guy through here, we're going to need to fold our two little corners in like so. If you have paper that has decorations on both sides, I want my blue to be showing on each side. So I'm going to work this one where it's showing my side I don't want to show. So we'll face it up like so, and then we'll fold the two tabs on this tab here. We're going to fold it to the inside and then stick it through the middle and then work that tab back out. Okay? And then the same thing with the other end. Fold those two little corners in and then work it through and then work it back out. And then we're going to turn this inside out. This you only need to do if you have a different color on the other side. The two ends aren't going to matter down here because we have decoration to cover that up. But my center one, I want it to be blue. So if we turn it inside out the wrong way, like so. Now, my bigger tab is at this end and my smaller one is at this in the middle. So I'm making sure I'm matching my smaller one up to the middle so they'll line up evenly. So we'll just take this piece and we're going to fold those corners in like so. And then we're going to feed it up the middle of our piece here. And it's going to be a little tight, but you can get it through, and then open that tab back up. There you go. So see how it's matching on both sides there? And then we'll fold the two corners in on our tab like so. And then you're just going to work it through that last hole. And then our boat is finished there. Then let's turn it over and we're just going to lay this down. And mine, I didn't line up very well on my score line very nicely. So like me, you may just have to rework those score lines if it's not laying nicely. And then we're going to push it the other way and make sure everything is folding down flat. That's laying nice and flat with my two boxes. And then if I stand it up like so and then go this way, it's laying nice and flat again. Now we can stand it back up like this. And what we're going to do is put glue on this section here, which is from this score line down. There's our score line, and then all in here we're going to put glue. And then we're going to glue it over to that guy like so. So let's get some glue and put that together. And once this is glued together and you think it's dry enough, we can fold it and then give that a good little rub there. And then we should have a piece that looks like that. Then what we're going to do is put a little glue on one of our tabs in the center here and then glue those two together. So let's do that. And then we have that piece glued together. Then we have two of these little rectangles here that has one score line down the middle. I've already worked that one. It's going to be a mountain fold. So we can go ahead and work both of these. And then that's what it will look like when it's worked. And these guys will go on these two end tabs, and it's just going to cover it up to make it nice. And you want to kind of center that on this piece. So we can put a little glue on the front and the back of our two end tabs. So I have glue on both sides there. And then I'm going to take my guide. And you want to put a little glue on the inside of this piece too. Tent here, and we're going to glue it on each side and try to center it in the middle here. So we can go ahead and do our other end. Now this is our front of our boat and this is the back. So the narrow part is our front. Okay, so here's our boat. I'm making sure my narrow piece is up top. I have my legs pointed away from me. My narrow piece is to the front. So I'm going to fold this in half and then we're going to slide it inside of our boat like so. Then we're going to take this tab, our little narrow tab, and we're going to line it up with our tab here. Okay, so the most important thing is we want to make sure we are having our small piece with our small piece. Then we're going to try to center as best as we can the piece here in the center of our flat boat. So it looks to me like I have the same amount on both sides. This tab should come up to the top of our floor tab here. Okay. My score line is here. You can see that. There you go. And then I will pinch it right below that score line. And then I'm going to move this guy back. Now I'm able to see my score line. So we're just going to apply glue from that score line up to the top. And I like to put my glue on my ship tab, the one I just pulled forward here. And I'm just going to put that glue all the way on that tab up to the top. And then we're going to give it a squeeze onto that tab. You do not want to put glue below that score line. And if there's a little section over here hanging off because of the way you've centered your piece or tried to center it, that is okay. Don't worry about that. We're just trying to center it and get that piece on nicely. Then we're going to turn it over and do the same thing. Except this time we don't have to center it because it's already centered. And then because this is a wider piece, I'm going to put glue on the floor tab. I find my score line there, and then I'm going to pinch it and then pull this tab back a little. And then from my score line up, that is where I'm going to put glue on my center floor tab. And then we'll give that a second to dry. And when you think it's dry enough, we can go ahead and push our boat up. Now for our flag. We have two flag poles here. We want to make sure that our holes are lining up exactly. Okay, so you want to make sure this is going the right way. What we're going to do is on each side of our center tab here, we're going to take one of our poles and go down that hole, and we're going to slide it down in that hole right there, like so. Now when you put this in, you can feel the bottom. You would just stand this up in the center. Make sure you can feel it on the floor of the boat. And then I can feel it's on the floor of my boat. And I'm going to pinch it about right there. So below my finger is where we're going to just put some glue. If you're worried, you can always go lower because we're going to glue it in other places to keep it together. But you do need glue on this piece. And then what we're going to do is slide it back down in that center hole until we feel the bottom of the floor. And then we're going to try to center it. And then we can go to the bottom down here. You can see my red piece in there. And I'm just going to give that a little pinch. And we can fold it all up and give it a nice little pinch there. Then we have one of our masts on. Now this piece, we can put glue all over it and stick it in. And we just want to make sure before you glue it, our holes are lining up exactly. And we're going to put glue all on the back of this and then slide it on the opposite side of the other pole in that slot over here. And then we'll glue it together. Be careful on your glue because you don't want to get wild and crazy with it. We don't want glue going everywhere on the inside of our boat. So I got my glue on, and now I'm just going to slide it in my hole on the opposite side till I feel the floor, and then we're just going to line these two guys up. And then I'm going to close it back up and give that a squeeze to make sure my bottom part is adhering to the inside. So now we can push it up and we have our mast on. Now for our sail. The sail with the little hooks on them, we're just going to put it through our little holes here, and you do have to kind of work it through there. And then once it's through, it'll look something like that. Now our other sail is going to go on this little hook part over here. We need space between this sail and our mast. So right at that point, right here and down here, you don't want to go past. So that little U section is that space that we need. So we'll just put a little glue on this section right here where you see that pencil mark. That's where we're going to put our glue. And you don't want this straight line here going past that point. So we want to bump it up to it like so. So you can see that gap in there between the mast and the other sail. And then we'll do the same thing for our bottom hook. So I'm just going to put a little glue on my hook. And then we're going to take this sail, and our smooth straight line edge goes up to this. There you go. And then the reason why we do that, so it and move back and forth. And then that's what it looks like on our other side there. Is take our boat. Oh, we have our flag here. The flag just goes on our pole like so. And I can show you on this one. It's already done. If you can see right there, I just slid it through, and we'll put glue on these two little feet right here and then slide it onto our pole. There you go. Now what we can do is get our card, and we're going to fold it all into a sandwich here. This is going to be the front of my card, so we're making sure our front piece is towards us, and I'm going to center mine. So we just bump our tabs up in that score line, and I'm just trying to center it. We're going to put glue all over this tab. Don't go past our score line. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And then give that a good rub. And then we can turn it over and do the same thing to this tab here. Then once we think this is dry enough, we can slowly open it up, and we have our little sailboat. I'm just going to take something and go down to the bottom of mine because it's not quite dry and give it a good rub. And the same thing for my back here. I think this is looking so cute. I wanted to make it look like shiny water, and I was like, how can I do this to make it look this way? So I thought, let's try Mod Podge. I tried some other things. Mod Podge was the best. So I used Mod Podge, some white paint, and glitter. And I just chose blue and silver because I thought it would look pretty. I have just an old raggedy paintbrush here. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then the stick, and then I have a little something to put it in. So you don't need a lot of the Mod Podge. That's about how much I'm using. That might be a tablespoon. And then I'm taking my blue glitter and I'm just going to sprinkle until your heart is content. And then I'm going to take my silver and do it until it makes you happy. So once you have all your glitter in that you want to use, I just took my paintbrush here and gave it a stir to mix that glitter up. We are going to have to let this dry. I want to say it took maybe 5 minutes or so for the Mod Podge to dry. I did put it in front of a fan to help it hurry along. And then I just wanted, you know how a boat looks traveling through water? That's what I did. I just kind of went around and made what I thought the water would look like around the boat. And I did an outline for mine first. You don't have to. And I didn't do it on my score line. I just kind of skipped over my score line. And you don't want it too thick because the thicker it is, the longer it'll take to dry. And then after I got my outside done, I just went in and kind of swirled and painted the rest. I did get as close as I could to the boat without getting any Mod Podge on it and glitter. And I'm doing this kind of wiggly lines to just, to me, make it look more like water. And as it starts to dry, I don't know if y'all can see it, you can see like that spot right there where there's no Mod Podge. So when I start to see that, I just take my paintbrush and just go back over it to fill that in. All right, so I have mine pretty much how I like it. So we're just gonna give this a second to dry, and then I will show you what I did with the paint. So I'm gonna just go clean my brush and my little Mod Podge cup here, and I'll be right back. Okay, so mine looks pretty dry. I see a couple of spaces that aren't, but it's dry enough for me to do the paint. And for the paint, what I did is just put just a little on a piece of junk paper, and then I took the end of this stick here and just started creating some lines, squiggly lines off of the boat. And that's it, guys. That's how we can make it look like water around our boat. Now, we do want to make sure our paint is dry, which it took about, I timed it, it was like 3.5 minutes for my Mod Podge to dry, and my paint I know is not quite dry yet. So I'm going to give this a second to dry. All right, guys, so our boat water is dry, and now we can move on to the rest of our card quickly here. Now for the front of our card, I thought it would be fun to do like a porthole So I did a silver piece, and then I'm going to put the black piece on top of it, and then little gold rings around it. So let's go ahead and put that together. Now let's go ahead and put our boat together. So I'm doing red for the bottom here, then my two sails I did white, and then a yellow flag. So I'm going to go ahead and put these pieces on. There's our boat. So I think I'm going to glue my boat on about like so. So I'm just going to turn this piece over. I'm going to put a little glue over here. And then I'm going to take my water, slide it underneath between my boat and this guy, and then just slide it down. And I don't need all of my boat on this side because I want it tucked under. So I'm just going to snip just enough off so it still can be glued to the back of our porthole, like so. And then we have our first layer of water on here too. So we just need to glue that down. Just putting glue on the top of my waves so I can glue it to the boat. I just don't want the water edge showing on the bottom and on our left side. So once I have that in place, I can lift this piece up and put some glue on the top of my blue piece here. Now we just need to build up our water behind our boat. So I'm going to glue that wave to the back like so. Then I'm going to glue my next wave like that. And I'm choosing not to put this wave on. I'm good with how these turned out. So I'm just checking to see which is my front here. I'm going to take a little glue and put it on the back of my boat to glue it to the top of my piece up here. Okay, so I think I'm going to glue my chain down about right there. And then I like my porthole about here, and I think I'm going to glue my anchor kind of leaning on my porthole. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these two pieces down. Alright guys, so here is our finished card. I think it is giving masculine vibes this week. I love how it turned out. We open it up and look at that boat. It's just so magnificent. And then we have adventure awaits. Let your dreams set sail. We have our little life preserver over here. And then on the back we have our ship wheel and then a chain with a place where we can write a message and keep it private. So overall guys, I really like how this turned out this week. I think we did a fabulous job. Do you guys know what to do with the 6 sailboat? You send it to the dock. Guys, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and crafting with me. Don't forget to stop by next week to see what's popping and dropping. Bye.